At 69 years old, I said yes to something I had convinced myself I no longer deserved. Not a vacation, not a new hobby, not a different haircut or a smaller apartment, or any of the safe, acceptable changes a woman my age is permitted to make without explanation. I said yes to love. And the moment my family found out, I understood something I had never understood before. That the people who love you most are sometimes the least prepared to see you fully alive. There is a particular kind of loneliness that nobody writes about. The loneliness of wanting something real, something warm, something that is yours alone, and being surrounded by people who need you not to want it. People who have a version of you in their minds, a fixed and finished version, and who feel quietly threatened every time the real you steps outside that frame. Most women my age feel this and say nothing. They fold the wanting away. They put it in a drawer and close it, and tell themselves it was never really there. By the time we reach the end of this, I think you will understand why I refused to close that drawer, and what it cost me, and what it gave me back. What I am about to share is something I have never said this completely before, not even to the people closest to me. His name does not matter for this story. What matters is the way he listened. Not the way people listen when they are waiting for their turn to speak. The way he listened when I talked, completely still, completely present, as if what I was saying was the most important thing happening in the world at that moment. I had been spoken over for so many years that I had forgotten what it felt like to be heard. And when I encountered it again at 69, sitting across a table from a man who had also lived through loss and come out the other side still standing, something inside me that I had declared permanently closed began, very quietly, to open. I did not tell anyone for 3 months. I carried it privately, the way you carry something fragile you are not sure anyone else will handle carefully. I tested the feeling. I questioned it. I told myself 100 sensible things. I told myself I was being foolish, that I was too old, that this would complicate everything, that the people who depended on me needed me to stay exactly as I was. And then one afternoon, I looked at my own reflection in the bathroom mirror, and I asked myself a question I had never asked before. I asked, "Whose life is this?" The answer came back so fast it startled me. Mine. This life is mine. I told my daughter on a Tuesday afternoon over tea. I watched her face. I have told you before about watching a face go through several things at once, and that is exactly what happened. There was surprise. There was a smile that arrived and then retreated before it fully formed. And then there was something else. Something cautious and careful and a little afraid. She said, "Mum, are you sure about this?" 3 words that contained 100 other words. Are you sure you are not being foolish? Are you sure you know what you are doing? Are you sure this man is safe? Are you sure you are not embarrassing yourself? Are you sure you have thought about how this affects the rest of us? She did not say any of those things. She is a kind woman. But I heard them all the same, because I am her mother, and I have known her voice since before she knew how to use it. My son was harder. He wanted to meet him immediately, which sounds generous but was not meant generously. He wanted to assess, to evaluate, to decide for himself whether this man was acceptable. He sat across from us both at dinner and asked the kind of careful, reasonable questions that were not really questions at all. They were tests. I sat there and felt something I had never felt in the presence of my own children before. I felt managed. I want to say something about adult children, and I want to say it with honesty and also with love, because I do not blame them and I have never blamed them. Adult children have a very specific picture of who their parent is. That picture was formed over decades. It contains everything: your cooking, your voice on the phone, the way you hold yourself in a crisis, the way you were when their father was alive, the way you have been since. That picture is part of who they are. It is built into them. And when you step outside that picture, you do not just change yourself, you change the picture. You ask them to see you differently. And seeing a parent differently, especially seeing a parent as a person with desires and needs and a life that exists outside of them, is genuinely difficult. It asks something of them they may not be ready to give. I understand that. I hold space for that. And understanding it did not make it hurt any less. Because here is the thing nobody tells you. When you are 69 and you have spent the better part of your adult life making yourself available to the people who needed you, you have earned the right to a life that is about something other than being needed. You have paid that price. You have served that purpose with everything you had, and the cost of still being alive, still wanting, still reaching, that cost should not be paid in your children's approval. There were weeks when the pressure was immense, comments at family dinners, a silence that had a shape to it, my daughter calling more often than usual, which sounds like a gift but felt like surveillance, my son sending me articles, actual articles, forwarded without comment, about elderly people who had been taken advantage of in late-life relationships. I read every one. And then I put the phone down and I called the man I had said yes to, and I told him what was happening, and he listened the way he always listened, completely and without interruption. And then he said something I have thought about every day since. He said, "You do not need their permission to be happy. You only need your own." 8 words. I have turned them over in my hands 1,000 times since that evening. You do not need their permission. You only need your own. I had spent 69 years waiting for permission, from my parents when I was young, from my husband when I was married, from my children once I was widowed. Always waiting, always arranging myself around someone else's comfort before I allowed myself to take up space. 8 words from a man who listened, and something in me finally stopped waiting. If you are carrying something like this right now, I want you to stop for a moment. I want you to hear me say this directly to you. You are not foolish for wanting this. You are not naive. You are not an embarrassment to anyone. You are not a problem to be managed, or a situation to be assessed, or a mother who has stopped making sense. You are a woman, still here, still alive, still capable of feeling something real. If you are sitting with a yes that you have been afraid to say out loud, I want you to know that I see the weight of it. I know what it costs to want something your own family does not understand. I know what it feels like to love people deeply and still need something they are not able to give you right now. You are not wrong for wanting it. You have never been wrong for wanting it. Love at 69 is not a mistake. It is not a symptom. It is not something to be diagnosed or corrected or waited out. It is life. Real, present, still breathing life. And you are allowed to live it. My family came around, not all at once, not easily, not without conversations that were hard and long and sometimes tearful on all sides. My daughter came around first. She told me, one evening when it was just the 2 of us, that she had been afraid, not of him, afraid of losing me, afraid that I would change so much she would not recognize me anymore, afraid that the mother she had known her whole life was somehow disappearing into this new version of herself. I held her hand across the kitchen table and I told her, I am not disappearing, I am arriving. For the first time in a very long time, I am actually arriving. She cried. I cried. My son took longer. He is still taking longer. But he comes to dinner. He is trying. That is enough for now. And in the meantime, I have a life that is mine. A life that I chose with my eyes open, at 69 years old, with full knowledge of everything I was risking and everything I was reaching for. You may have come here today still holding your yes inside your chest, not quite ready to let it out. I hope something I have said today makes the holding a little easier to bear. And I hope, when your moment comes, you find the courage to say it out loud. Because yes, at any age is still the most powerful word a person can speak. Before I go, there is something I want to say clearly. Everything I have shared in this video comes from personal experience and personal reflection only. It is not medical advice. It is not financial guidance. It is not legal or psychological counsel of any kind. I am not a doctor, a therapist, a financial advisor, or a legal professional. I am simply someone who has lived through something real and chosen to speak honestly about what that felt like. If you are facing serious challenges in any of these areas, please reach out to a qualified professional who can help you directly and personally. The stories and reflections shared on this channel are meant only to offer comfort, honest perspective, and a sense that you are not carrying this alone. Take whatever feels true to you. Leave anything that does not. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here with me today. If this felt like someone finally gave voice to something you have been carrying quietly inside you, that is exactly what this channel is here for. There are more honest conversations like this one coming. I would love for you to be part of them. Simply press subscribe below.